Hi everyone, it's Anne back again. I've got here some little packets of what I call wire words that I've been making to go up to Kerry for the shop. I'll just open the pack and show you. Basically what they are is little pieces of vintage music, and they're surrounded with a wire frame. Okay, you can see that. I'll take some clearer pictures to put on at the end. And I really like them. I don't know what it is about them, but I find them very appealing. And hopefully you will. I know I sent some up before and they sold out in the shop the first day. So I had to make some more, and Kerry said, you know, send me lots this time. So I'm making more today, so I thought it was a good opportunity to make a video and show you how I do it. Alright, I'll just put these ones back and then we'll get on with it. Right, now you're going to obviously need some wire. This is a very soft copper wire. I've got no idea what the gauge is, I'm sorry. But it doesn't really matter. As long as you've got some wire you can work with. If it's soft, you may be able to just use your fingers. If it's not as soft as this, you might have to use your tools a bit more. And for tools, I've got my wire cutters, some flat pliers and some round nose pliers, and I'll be using those. You're also going to need something to wrap the wire around to give you the shape, and I've got this bead container here for the round ones. And I searched around the house and I was looking for something rectangular and quite firm that I could bend the wire against. I found this little box. I've stuck the lid on with some sticky tape. But it's a beautiful little box. I think it's malachite or something like that. And it's one that Kerry brought me years ago when she went on a school trip to Kenya. And I've actually brought me a pair of them, and I've had them sitting on my little tray of small things for years. Anyway, this is perfect for what we're doing today. So I've got those, and I need to cut a piece of wire. Now for your first one you can measure how much you're going to need. So we need to go round the shape and have a bit extra. So for this shape it will depend on how big your shape is. I'm going to cut about this much. It's not that important because you can always wind up the excess with your pliers a bit tighter. You'll see what I mean as we go. So I'm going to put this container approximately in the middle and bring the two pieces together. And where they cross over in the middle, I'm going to make a twist. Now if your wire is too stiff, then you might have to use your flat nose pliers at this stage and twist it with those. But this is so soft I can just use my fingers. So now I've got those two pieces. I wasn't quite in the middle, so that one's a bit longer than the other one. Sorry, put my glasses on. So I'm just going to trim that one off a little bit. And once you've got the two pieces twisted together, take your round nose pliers and just start winding it around like that. And turn it around, and we'll do the other side. And when they're both together, I just flatten them with the flat pliers. Okay, and then slide it off. Now we have our first one. Now, if you want to make a variation of that by having an oval, that's very easy to do. We'll make another. have a bit longer twist this time so that my little circles are sitting on a bit of a stalk. See, this one is a little bit longer than the other, but I'm not going to worry because I can just wind it all up. And nobody will ever know that one was a bit longer than the other. Okay, then we slide it off. Now if I want an oval, I could squash it that way and get an oval that way. Or I could squash it that way and get an oval longy ways. I think I like the horizontal oval better for this one. It's not perfect, but that's good enough. Alright, now we'll do the rectangular one. So I need a bit of wire to go around and a bit extra. I'm using this little box because it's perfect for this job, because I need to be able to press the wire against it quite firmly. I'm sure you'll find something around your house. You could use maybe a matchbox or a tic-tac box, or you'll find something, I'm sure, that's the right size, that's firm enough to wrap the wire around. And we do the same thing. We come together where the wire crosses over in the middle. I'm going to twist it. Sometimes it's easier to hold the wire and twist the box. Okay. Now, the reason you need it firm is because on the rectangular ones you want to put some pressure on the corners to make them a bit more square. So I just run my finger and thumb along the sides and squeeze it in the corner so that I get a bit more of a corner shape. Like that, a bit more squared off. And then just the same as the other one, just wind down the wire. Okay. That way, and we can do one the other way. Make it a long thin one by making the twist at the top instead of the side. Okay, and slide it off. There we have one in that orientation. Alright, so when you've made heaps of them, the next thing to do is to glue them onto your paper. Now, as I say, I'm using some authentic sheet music, But you could use anything. You could use magazines or newspapers or just pieces of pages from a book. You could use anything. You could even use little pictures if you didn't want them to have writing and you wanted to frame a little picture. But this is what I'm using today. And what I'm looking for is areas where I've got kind of a small concentration of print of some sort. So this is perfect, this kind of thing here. Or where you've got one word with a little bit of decoration is also good. Now you're going to need some glue. I like to use my art glitter glue, which I've transferred into this needlepoint applicator, because I like to do them with this one at a time. I'll do this one first. I'm just going to bend the, I'll do it on the table, press it on the table so the frame's nice and flat, and I just lift up the wire a little bit so that the actual circle part sits flatter on the table, and this curly part is poking up, and because it's poking up it's pressing the wire down at the table point. I can put it back into position after the glue is dry, but for now I just tilt it at a little angle and use it as a handle while I turn it over and put some glue on this side. As I was saying, I like to use this needlepoint applicator, and because I like to use my art glitter glue. The other way you can do it is to put a little puddle of glue down on some plastic, which I'll do in a minute, and dip the wire in it. But I find with the art glitter glue it dries too quick. My little puddle of glue dries up very quickly, whereas if I do it this way I'm just doing them one at once. And we'll do another one. We'll do this one. So I've got it nice and flat on the table. I'm just going to raise up that a little bit. And the other reason I like using the art glitter glue for this job is because it dries so quickly. After a few minutes I shall go in with my fingers and just press down on this ring. Just make sure it's firmly adhered to the paper. Whereas the PVA glue does take a lot longer to dry, and you kind of have to keep going back to it to see if it's at the right point where you can press it down and it will stay in place. I find the PVA tends to want to slip about if I press it for a lot longer, whereas this, after a couple of minutes, it's very tacky, and then I can press it down and within a few minutes after that it's completely dry. Alright, we'll just do one more. It doesn't matter if you don't get the whole thing in, so you can just pick what looks good through the frame. And even though that would have been better if we could get it all in, I've just picked out some main bits, so that's going to be fine when it's dry. Might as well just do this last one. Right, just use some of these words. So let me look on the other side. I do like using these curly bits. I think, are they called treble clef? I'm not sure, I'm not a musical person, but I do like how they look. Alright, now I would do lots and stick them all over the place and have a whole sheet of them, but just for the sake of the video I'm just going to leave them there, and I'll come back in a few minutes when they're completely dry and we'll finish them off. Hi, well I'm back again. Now they've dried and we're going to take the next step. Okay, now as I did mention before, when these were just half dry, when they were still tacky, I went round and pressed them down firmly with my fingers, and that made a good contact with the paper, and they've dried nice and flat. So I'm just going to cut around them, leaving plenty of space around them because I want to tear them. I'm actually going to save that stamp there because I like it. Okay, now you're going to need your dauber with some brown archival ink on it, and rather than using a pad, because I want a good coverage, I'm just going to put a few drops of the re-inker on the actual dauber. If you've got a nice juicy pad, then you won't need to do that. I'll just sit that there for a second. Now, holding this tight between my finger and thumb so that I don't get too near the wire, I'm going to tear around the wire, but I don't want to actually go right up to it. You can see now why they have to be completely dry, because if I tried to do this when the wire wasn't completely stuck to the paper, the wire would come off. Okay, I take my dauber and just go around the edge. Alright, the last thing to do is just to bend up the little curly bit so it's all nice and flat. Alright, there we go. Wire words. Alright, I hope that was okay for you. Like I say, you don't have to just do this kind of music paper. You could use anything. In fact, I might have a go at doing some little pictures if I can find some somewhere. Right, well, thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you have fun making some. And I see you again soon, I hope, in the next video. Bye for now.